My mother had these boxes for years, wanted to send them to me. I didn't want them, so she finally said, I'm either throwing the boxes away or I'm sending them to you. So she sent them to me, and I'm so glad I did, because one of the first things I pulled out was this, and I couldn't stop smiling for like an hour. This is the original Little Giants helmet. This was worn for 2 months at the old Burbank Equestrian Center when I beat Ed O'Neill's Cowboys with the coaching of Mr. Rick Moranis. This is the jersey that I wore. Number 11, it's seen better days.
Yeah, put me in, coach. I want to kick some butt.
This I'm happy too, because I think I can get like a good $750 on eBay for this bad boy. Still in the wrapping right here. So if you check my eBay page, this is on there for $750. The old VHS in the wrapper. Collector's item. I'm only kidding. I'm not selling it. Crew t-shirt. This would have been a really good t-shirt had it not had the Cowboys on the other side. But it's half a good t-shirt, because that's what I'm talking about right there. I am from Canada, and I had never put on a helmet like this before. My helmets were hockey helmets, and I knew nothing about football. And so it was a young Canadian hockey player in full football gear, but luckily they had great stunt kids and everything. Little Giants was a blast. It didn't feel like work to me. It felt like you go to work and you're with all these kids your own age, and it's just like summer camp, kind of. My son put on the helmet. They like this movie. They don't like all my movies. My kids are the worst critics ever. They like this movie. This is a good one. I still keep in touch with a lot of the cast: Shauna, Marcus, Troy. They're old friends from Little Giants, and because of social media, we've all kind of, kept in touch. And so maybe we'll do a reunion movie one day. My dad was like a big sports guy, wanted me to be play hockey and soccer and all this, and wasn't really sure about this theater choice, but then eventually started collecting all my stuff and putting it all away. And so my dad had a big part on collecting a lot of this stuff. All right, let's go back into the box and see what we got. So this was my very first Hollywood film. I'd been working in Canada for 5-6 years before landing the part of Casper. It was a nationwide casting search. They were already 2.5, 3 months into shooting Casper when they decided they wanted to shoot an alternate ending of the film just in case. I think somebody in Amblin, whether it was Spielberg or whoever it was, had an idea and wanted to just shoot it just in case. They wanted to have an ending where Casper came back to life, so they did this big search, and I sent my VHS tape in and got a call, and a week later I was on a plane and we were doing Casper. This is the original script. Crazy, because I opened it this morning for the first time in a long, long time, and I realized that I said the line wrong. The famous line, I'm sure some of you know, is "Can I keep you?" And I just realized it says in the script, "I'm going to keep you." So all these years, and I realized that I messed up and said the line all wrong.
Can I keep you?
The story goes that they gave the job to a young writer named J.J. Abrams to write an alternate ending, and he came up with these few pages that they shot, and it made the movie and changed my life. Casper was a little weird to show my kids. They kept looking at the movie, they kept looking at me.
Casper?
My son went through a phase where he would tell everybody in the most awkward places that I was Casper. Like, we'd be in a grocery line and he'd be like, "My dad's Casper," and it was like years ago. I see Christina once every, I think, 5 or 6 years on average. She's great. I love her. I love watching her success. Into the box we go. This was one of the best experiences I had shooting a movie during my teens. That's a crew hat we got. The Gaslight Audition was the original name for what was to be renamed Now and Then. This movie felt like summer camp. I think we were all 13, 14, 15 years old. It was in Savannah, Georgia, which is the most gorgeous place ever. Great summer. Great summer in Savannah, Georgia. This is the original script. Premiere tickets. Now, what was awesome about this premiere was that the producers of the film, Demi Moore, Rosie O'Donnell, Rita Wilson, Melanie Griffiths, when I was 14, their husbands at the premiere, Bruce Willis was there, Tom Hanks was there, Antonio Banderas was there. It was like, this premiere was like the place to be that night, I think.
You're pretty good. You know? Thanks.
And I mean, like, not just for a girl, you know, for a guy.
We did a cast and crew screening back in, like, I want to say 2012, 2013. With half the cast and a lot of the crew, a lot of the producers. The same producers of this film, the Todd sisters, Jennifer Todd and Suzanne Todd, also produced Idle Hands some years later. So they would go on to hire me again for another film, and they were there. But yeah, that's the last time I saw it. And it's a well-written, cute little film that, you know, stands the test of time. So this is the biggest surprise out of everything going forward, like being my age now and meeting fans and whatnot. This movie didn't play in Canada. I never knew that it was actually a thing. Apparently it was huge for whenever it came out. It was called Night of the Twister. It was based off a book, and apparently people loved it a lot. When my mother was sending me these boxes, she was so frickin' excited that I was getting one of the props from the film. Like she's talked about it so many times. This is the harmonica that I played in one of the most cringy scenes I've ever shot in my entire life, where they played playback and I would basically fake the harmonica.
Guys, quiet down, you'll wake Ryan.
This is the actual harmonica, also going to be on eBay, that my mother is so happy I'm holding now. I still don't know how to play the harmonica. They basically just told me to do this a lot and move around. Right? Maybe it was me. So here we have Wild America. This was a movie I did with Jonathan Taylor Thomas, sweetest kid ever. I spoke to him recently, as recent as 6 or 7 years ago, I think. I got on the phone with him. He's happy and well, and yeah. This is a great film to shoot. We shot this in Savannah, Georgia, did the second half in Calgary. Out of all my films, this one did not survive the test of time, only because I think we're so spoiled with special effects and digital and CGI and yada, yada, yada. The guys in the bear costumes, they're totally ruined the movie. There's snakes on sticks, like rubber snakes on sticks. There's a mechanical moose. There's like a floaty gator. And we sold it, I guess, but it was a good old-fashioned filmmaking is what it was.
You know what that sound is? Hundreds of sleeping bears ready to wake up and tear our faces off.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas was holding the championship belt in Team Beat World back then. And I knew it, but I wasn't gonna let him know that. I secretly was bitter and jealous of him because everybody was a Jonathan. I was like it was like, if there was 10 girls, 8 of them were Jonathan Taylor Thomas, one of them was me, and maybe the rest of them were like other guys. So here we have teen magazines. I disliked this time of my life for a certain amount of time. Now I'm very thankful, obviously. It got me to where I needed to be, to get to where I needed to be, to where I am now. But in my late teens, I wanted to do whatever I could to change this image of what I thought, you know, heartthrob, teen beat, all this stuff. So that I started doing movies like Idle Hands or taking things like the Stand video. I can appreciate them. How's that? One of the best things is that I got a lot of fans from them, so I got a lot of fan mails, but the sad thing was, because I lived in Canada, a lot of it would get stopped at the Canadian border, and I had to basically claim these envelopes that are all coming across the border, and so we didn't get a lot of them. So a lot of them got stuck or lost at the border. Some of them just automatically came over and we read and answered them, but there was a lot that just got, that, you know, the guys at the Canadian border were maybe reading, I don't know. Maybe answering, I don't know, who knows? This is funny. This is where it all started. This hairdo, the infamous McDonald arches. I may or may not have started this hairdo, I don't know. You'd have to ask Insync. This is a half a bottle of Dippity Doo in this picture right here. That's a crunchy hairstyle, okay? You could almost snap those things. I had the hoop earrings, the McDonald arches. I think that it lasted for like 5 years, that crazy haircut. But it's coming back. A lot of kids in high school nowadays are rocking the old Sawa haircut. This next movie is still to this day my favorite thing I've ever shot. I'm a big horror fan. This is my first horror film. This is not the hand that we used in the film. This is the stand-in hand. I kept it all this time. So before we brought in the real one that actually walked around with the remote control, they would put that in there. They let me keep this. It gets worse looking every year, just from air, time, kind of like me. This is the scrapbook I made when I was doing the film, and it's still probably the most fun I've ever had shooting a film. This is when I realized I wanted to continue doing horror for the rest of my life. Seth Green, Eldon Henson, Vivica Fox, Jessica Alba. We goofed around all day. We had buckets of blood. We were improvising comedy, all that stuff that Seth does with the burritos and everything. It's all just like, we were just goofing around all day. You can't see it, but there's, you know, me coming up with ideas. I had this apartment building on 100 South Doheny, and the apartment building, there's other apartment buildings across the street, but I used to have my blinds all open, and I used to try all my hand stuff all day long. Like I would rehearse it in this, and we're looking at a building full, like right across the street. So I can imagine they thought I was insane, because I came up with all this stuff in my little apartment.
I can't keep doing this! Losing my mind!
I got an expert on idle hands to teach me how to knit, because there's a scene where I have to stab someone with a knitting needle. I'm supposed to, I mean, it's a comedy. I could have just faked it, but they had me working with this little old lady teaching me how to knit for 2 weeks, like as if it would change the whole movie.
Idle hands are the devil's playpen, so I'm thinking, you know, keep my hands occupied, right?
People quote it all the time. I've seen tattoos. They're constantly making new T-shirts. I'm proud of the film, so I'm even prouder that it has such a cool little fan base of people. This is actually something I didn't even know was in these boxes, and it's actually really cool. The VHS screener of the Eminem Stand Director's Cut. It was nice of them to send me this tape. This is probably the first time I watched it was on this tape. Come on, let's play this.
What?
Stanley, what are you doing to yourself?
What the hell, you don't like it?
Stanley!
You like it?
Stanley!
What?
Dido is probably still dealing with some issues about that 3 days we shot this. We put her through the ringer. It was 3 days of just nuttiness. It was an interesting shoot. Dr. Dre and Philip Atwell directed it. So sitting next to a chair with Dr. Dre, you know, giving me notes. I remember his first note to me was try it with more rhythm, because they told me on the day that like I was going to lip sync the song.
Dear Slim, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling.
And I guess I was off a little bit. And so he's like, yeah, it's good, but this time, just give it a little more rhythm. You gotta go with the song. I'd listened to it obviously, but I had no idea that I was going to lip sync any of it until I got there, and they were just matter of fact. Oh, you need to learn these lyrics. It's like I'm not a rapper. It was hard, and then it kind of evolved into like, okay, you're just gonna say a few things here and there and then the last verse I had to lip sync the complete thing. So I was in between every setup. I was, you know, in my trailer, like listening to the song and trying to learn the words. I can sing the whole thing now, but I couldn't on that day. But since then, like I can still, it plays all the time. You'll be at like Ralph's and it'll play. It's a huge hit. It's a piece of history. The kids played it on Chucky. The kids caught wind that I did a music video with Eminem, and they played it on their little phone at the Video Village chairs. And so that's the last time I saw it. But I've seen it. I've seen it over the years. But man, I'm so proud that I'm part of this. Back to the box. This is a Final Destination crew T-shirt. This is the original title of the film, Flight 180. They had to change that because I guess all the different plane companies would have to, you know, get rid of all the Flight 180s or whatever it is, I think. But it didn't change till the very, you know, just before the posters were made, I think. It kind of stayed that name for a while, Flight 180, which was a great name, but I get why they changed it. Scream had come out first, and then that's what kicked off this young teen horror. You know, I know we did last summer, Disturbing Behavior, all these films. So I did Idle Hands because I was kind of an FU to those films. Like I wanted to do something different, but then I ended up in this film, which was essentially one of those films, but a great film. And I guess that kind of genre is coming back, the young adult teen horror films. You read every script with the idea that, like, man, this could be a sequel. Or I hope this becomes a sequel. I didn't know it would be as big as it was. Like, I didn't know it would be such a hit. This was my second nomination, first win for a Saturn Award. So much cooler to have this award now. When I won it, Saturn Awards, I guess also because of the internet, wasn't as prestigious as it is now. Now it's like very happy to have it on this table right now. Just after Final Destination, because I had started at such a young age, I started to get burnt out a little bit, and it started to shift a little bit. Now it was more about my social life, or what I was doing on the weekends, and I kind of lost the love of doing it. And so it was like around 24, 25 where I quit the business and went away until I was about 29, and then fell in love with it again. But I had to learn to re-love it like I did when I was 15.